Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month.
Yeah.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining. The easiest way to find the fraudster is to stop payments and listen.
Yeah.
Because whoever screams is the one stealing.
Let's get it, y'all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the CMC Show, Candid Melanin Conversations. I'm your host, Anthony Stewart. And what an idiot. What a pompous, arrogant idiot. The nerve of a billionaire to try to lecture end-of-life seniors for collecting money that they have put into the system. And when they miss a payment, oh, if they complain, they're fraudsters. What a pompous asshole. But these are the people that some of you all voted for. And now there's this march that's happening across the country, which I'm going to, and I'm going to talk to some of the people out there. But what an asshole. Now, I don't know if anybody else caught this part, but I caught this part. Why are you giving us an example of your mother, or as you say, your mother-in-law? If she misses a check, she wouldn't complain. First of all, does your mother-in-law draw Social Security? Is she getting this government entitlement, as you all say? If so, let's talk about it. Because if she's not, then why would you use an example of something you know that is a lie? So you're lying to us. One way or another, you're lying to us. Because you're all liars. Anyway, there's another clip that I saw of Musk talking to Joe Rogan about Social Security. Listen to what he says. I'm sure you've already seen it, but let's go back over it again.
Like, you could run a real pyramid scheme.
I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. Luckily, I found a professor. He explains the history of Social Security very concisely from inception until now, and it is a worthwhile listen, especially the way he explains it, which is very, very good. Let's check this out.
If ever there was a topic which needs the history in order to be understood properly, this is it. So let's go back to the middle of the 1930s when Social Security was first established. Before that, in other words, for most of the history of the United States as a country, there was no Social Security. When you got too old to work, either because your age or you had an infirmity or an injury or an illness or other people in your family depended on you and you couldn't go out to work, you were on your own. You had to find some way to survive. Maybe you would beg. Maybe you would go to your local church and stand in line on Sunday with a bag, hoping that you could get some food. Or you turned to your children. And if your children were living on a tight budget, you could have real trouble in your family. It was a mess, and it was very tragic for millions of American families over most of our history. Then we come to the 1930s. We just had the worst collapse in the history of capitalism. October 1929, everything fell apart. Stock market crashed. Millions, tens of millions of people were thrown out of work. Hundreds of thousands of businesses went belly up. The government had no money because unemployed people didn't pay income tax because they didn't get an income. and businesses didn't pay their taxes because they were bankrupt. So never did the government have less money. And what did it do? It passed the Social Security system, because there's two socialist parties, the Communist Party and the CIO, the big organizing drive of the labor movement, got together and put unbearable pressure on the then President Franklin Roosevelt. Roosevelt didn't create Social Security or give it to anybody. It was taken by the action of masses of people. But I want to stress, the government had no money and passed one of the most expensive programs in the history of the country. It committed itself to give every person 65 years of age or older a pension check for the rest of their lives, no matter how long they live. Wow. Well, how do you do that if you don't have any money? And why am I stressing this? Because today, Musk and Trump and Republicans and Democrats, unfortunately too, will be heard over and over again suggesting we don't have the money. Well, we have vastly more money now than we did when the program was passed. Don't be fooled. It's got nothing to do with the money. It's only a question of the political power of the working class. It either gets it or it doesn't. That's the issue. If you want to preserve it now, you'll have to fight for it again. So that's the first thing. The second thing, it was decided that the way to handle this over the long run was to make it work, and this is called a pay-as-you-go system. It's a simple way of saying we're going to take money out of people's checks as they go through working age. They get a check. Out of that check, money is withheld, usually with the initials FICA or another kind of abbreviation. If you put together the old age pension, the disability allowance, and now the health insurance, you put all those together and it works out to 7.65% of your salary is taken out. It goes directly to Washington and is handled by the Social Security system. And an equal percentage of your salary is contributed by your employer. And that's your pension program. That's your government-mandated pension program, which, by the way, exists in most countries around the world. Nothing unique about the United States. We came rather late to that process. It had been in reality in Germany for many decades before the Americans decided to do it. All right, now last part. Does everybody pay 7.65% of their salary all the way up to no matter how much they get? Answer, no. Only this year it's, I believe, $176,000. The first $176,000 you earn this year, 2025, you'll have the 7.65% taken out of your paycheck to build up your personal Social Security account, okay? But if you earn more than $176,000, which quite a few million Americans at the very top, 4 or 5 million, I don't know the exact number, who get more than that, you don't pay on that. Let me make sure you understand. Middle and low income people, every nickel you earn, you have 7.65%. If you earn more than $176,000, all the dollars beyond 176, no Social Security withholding whatsoever. Nice if you're rich. And if you're worried that the Social Security system has enough money in it, well, one of the easiest solutions would be to say everybody, no matter how much you earn, has to contribute to what makes a society decent, namely giving a retirement that's livable to its elderly folks and a health coverage as well, et cetera, et cetera. Now, a couple of particular points, because they're so, so, so important. To fund the pensions, we do not tax income other than from labor. It's very important. If you earn money from stock because you buy and sell stocks, that income, because you buy at $1 and you sell at $10 and you keep the $9 difference, that's called a capital gain income, there's no Social Security deduction. If you earn money by lending at interest, you're rich enough to do that, the income, the interest you earn, no Social Security. If you own shares of stock that pay a dividend, no Social Security. Well, only the rich people own most of that. 10% own 80% of the stock. So that 10% is earning a bundle of income, most of it for them, no Social Security at all. We just said you don't have to. As if it weren't a matter of the society's commitment to decency, like educating our children or keeping our roads clean. We take care of our elderly, or we don't. Last point. For horrible reasons, this program got called an entitlement. It's as if Social Security were some form of charity. No, 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 no. The bulk of the money is your money that you put in across a lifetime of your work. Private employers, very important you understand, have many times used the argument, we don't have to raise your wages as much as you're asking, because after all, you've got a government pension. In other words, the employer says, I have to pay that money to Social Security. I'm not going to pay you as big a salary as I have to because I have that extra payment. So you've actually paid in two ways. Money has been withheld, and the wages you've been able to enjoy have been pressed down. When you put it all together, you should not allow anyone ever to tamper with this, and that's exactly what Trump and Musk and conservatives have done. What you're watching is an attack on one of the most important gains the working class of the United States ever won, which it won again at a time when mass unemployment and the government kept saying, we have no money.
And there you have it, folks. If we let this happen, shame on us. Comments, likes, concerns. I'm here. Let's have a discussion. Peace.